Hey everyone, welcome back to Retro Real Recaps. Today, we're diving into the movie Fountain of Youth. This is the story of a brave archaeologist and his sister, who haven't been close for years. They're hired by a very rich man who doesn't have much time left to live. Together they must race against dangerous treasure hunters, hidden groups, and even their own past to find an ancient secret about living forever. Let's get into the story. The movie starts in Bangkok, Thailand. We meet Luke Perdue, an archaeologist. He's riding his scooter, ignoring calls from someone named Kasim. Suddenly, several cars surround him. Kasim demands that Luke return a tube with a painting he stole from his boss. One of Kasim's men has a gun, so Luke says he'll pull over. But instead, he stops his scooter, waits for the cars to go ahead, and then takes a different road. A chase begins, and Luke drives so fast that his pursuers crash into other cars. He enters a busy market where cars can't follow, leaving only one enemy on a bike. When Luke rides into an apartment building, the space is so narrow that the biker crashes too. Luke goes down the stairs and exits the building, but Kasim's car blocks him. He's thrown off his scooter, but since locals quickly gather around the car, Luke crawls away. Kasim scares the crowd by firing his gun in the air, and orders his men to keep chasing Luke on foot. With an injured leg, Luke moves as fast as he can while his enemies shoot at him. He calls his teammates to say he won't make his flight, so they tell him to take the train instead. After running through another market, Luke steals a food cart from a merchant. Kasim follows him in his car again. Luke unhooks the food cart from the bike, sending it crashing into Kasim's car. The cart catches fire, and the flames spread, covering Kasim's windshield. Kasim crashes into traffic, and the police surround him while Luke escapes. At the train station, Luke jumps off the bike and runs after the train, barely making it on board. That night, Luke falls asleep in his seat and dreams he's in an old building where he finds and takes a golden mask. When he wakes up, a woman named Esme is sitting across from him. She says her job is to get back special paintings, and the men sitting nearby work for her. Luke tries to trick her by saying the monks sitting close by are actually his security team who are trained killers, but Esme doesn't believe him. When his trick doesn't work, Luke still won't give her the painting. Esme pulls out a knife while one of her men grabs Luke from behind and chokes him. Esme tries to take the tube with a painting and kicks Luke when he won't let go, but Luke grabs her arm instead. Esme slips out of her jacket and walks away. Luke then grabs a plate from a table and smashes it on the head of the man choking him. Now he goes after Esme, kicking down another thug, but she quickly fights him off and walks away again. Luke battles another man before reaching her. Esme defends herself with a knife, accidentally cutting the strap of the tube. As they both hold on to different ends of the strap, Luke dodges her knife and pulls hard, sending Esme into the bathroom where he locks her in. Then, Luke climbs to the train's roof and waits until a water tower is close enough to jump onto it. He doesn't grab the railing well and falls through the roof of a small shack. Finally, he calls his teammates to come pick him up. Meanwhile, in London, Luke's sister, Charlotte Perdue, is talking with her ex-husband, Harold Cross, and his lawyer about their divorce. Harold wants full custody of their son Thomas, which makes Charlotte furious. Later, she's at work in the museum when she's shocked to see Luke there. He acts like he's just visiting her, but since they almost never see each other, Charlotte knows he must be in trouble. Luke tries to convince Charlotte to join him on adventures like they used to with their father, but she reminds him she's a mother now, and wants to keep her safe job as a curator. Then, Luke points out damage on one of the paintings. While Charlotte inspects it, he quickly steals a different painting from the wall. The alarm goes off immediately, and the museum doors start locking themselves as Luke runs. Charlotte follows him outside and demands the painting back, but Luke says he'll only return it if she gets in his car. He speeds away, making sharp turns to lose the police cars chasing them. After weaving through narrow streets, he drives into the back of a truck driven by his teammates, Murphy and Deb. Charlotte recognizes them. They used to work with their father. As Luke and Charlotte argue about the life she's chosen, Murphy examines the stolen painting and realizes it's not the one they need. Luke tells Charlotte she can take the painting back, then sprays something in her face that puts her to sleep. When she wakes up, she's alone on a park bench. Charlotte hurries back to the museum, where Inspector Jamal Abbas from Interpol is investigating the theft. He suspects Charlotte helped Luke, but as they argue, they notice the stolen painting has been returned to its place. After work, Charlotte tries to pick up her son Thomas, but Harold refuses to let him go with her because he's heard she's now a suspect in a theft. Furious, Charlotte storms off to confront Luke for ruining her life. She finds him with a wealthy man named Owen Carver, who explains he's dying of cancer, and has hired Luke's team to find the Fountain of Youth, possibly the only thing that can save him. Charlotte insists the fountain is just a myth, but Luke argues that all myths have some truth behind them. He points out that dozens of cultures across the world have written about the fountain, which can't just be a coincidence. According to legend, God has hidden the fountain's location from mankind. Luke's team believes the secret has been passed down through generations in certain families called the Protectors of the Path, whose job is to keep it hidden. Luke thinks Esme is one of these protectors. He explains that in the year 1600, 6 artists made a secret agreement to reveal the fountain's location by hiding clues in different paintings. These are the paintings Luke has been stealing. The paintings have hidden Latin words that say 6 and 1, meaning 6 paintings, but only one path. They also have mysterious letters, but the team hasn't figured out what they mean yet. Charlotte realizes they stole the wrong Rembrandt painting, and now want her to tell them where the real one is. She doesn't want to join them because she's too worried about losing Thomas, so Owen offers his powerful lawyers to help her with the custody battle. In return, Charlotte tells them to look into the Vanderbilt family. That evening, Luke sits in a cafe, researching the Vanderbilts, when Esme suddenly appears. She warns him to stop searching for the fountain, or she'll shoot every member of his team. The next day, Luke shows up at Thomas's piano recital and tells Charlotte he's found the real painting they need. After some back and forth, he finally convinces her to help him get it. Later, the team is on a ship off the coast of Ireland, searching for a sunken cruise liner where the painting was last seen. They send special drones underwater to cut open the part of the ship that held first-class belongings and attach flotation tanks to bring it to the surface. Once the wreck is lifted, Luke and Charlotte go inside to find the painting, with Charlotte guiding them using an old map. Back on their ship, the team notices something approaching on the radar and tries to warn Luke, but the radios aren't working. Soon, a helicopter drops Esme and her armed men onto the cruise liner. Inside, Charlotte finds some old alcohol in a cabinet and takes a drink while Luke uses a blowtorch to open a closet labeled with Vanderbilt's name. Inside, he finds an old box containing the missing painting. The siblings celebrate with a toast. Luke tries to grab some jewelry too, but Charlotte slaps his hand, reminding him they're not thieves. The flotation tanks begin to fail, so they don't have much time left. As they try to leave, Esme's men surround them with guns. Luke and Charlotte fight back, and in the struggle, the bag with the painting falls. The men start shooting, forcing Esme to stay back while bullets ricochet off the metal walls, even hitting the helicopter. The gunfire damages the flotation tanks, and the cruise liner starts flooding. Luke slips on the water, and one of Esme's men points a gun at him. Charlotte smashes a chair over the man's head, and Luke rushes for the painting, but freezes when Esme grabs Charlotte and holds her hostage. The damaged helicopter flies away, and the cruise liner begins sinking. Luke doesn't believe Esme will really hurt Charlotte and tries to stall. Suddenly, the ship shakes violently, and Charlotte uses the distraction to hit Esme and push her over the balcony into the water. The siblings try to escape, but a powerful wave throws them back inside, and Luke's leg gets tangled in a net, trapping him underwater. As the ship sinks, Charlotte dives in, frees him, and they swim to the surface just in time to be rescued by their team in a boat. Charlotte is really angry with Luke. She asks him what he was thinking when Esme took her as a hostage. Luke tries to explain to Charlotte that Esme would never have actually hurt her, but Charlotte doesn't like this answer and doesn't believe him. She tells Luke she won't help him with any more of his dangerous adventures and walks away from him. Back in London, Harold tells Charlotte she can take Thomas. He's moving to Japan for a new job. When he mentions his new company, Charlotte realizes Owen arranged this so she could keep her son. She rejoins the team to study the letters again using the new painting. The letters spell out wicked, and with the 6 and 1 clue, they realize it refers to the Wicked Bible, misprinted version of the King James Bible from 1631 that accidentally said, "Thou shalt commit adultery" instead of "thou shalt not." The team wonders if the misprint was actually intentional, a way to mark certain Bibles that held clues to the fountain's location. Almost all were destroyed, except one. Suddenly, Inspector Jamal and his officers burst in to arrest the siblings. But Qasim and his men arrive, holding everyone at gunpoint. Luke makes a deal. Qasim can take him and all the paintings if he lets the others go. Qasim agrees, and Charlotte leaves with the team. Then Luke pretends to grab the paintings but instead plays loud music and ducks under the table. The distraction lets the cops attack, starting a huge fight. Punches turn into gunfire, and Luke's car gets shot up in the chaos. While everyone fights, Luke sneaks out the back door, where his team picks him up on a boat. The battle ends with the police winning. Jamal checks the computer and notices the quote from the Wicked Bible, realizing the siblings might be onto something big. Luke has a strange dream where he's standing in the middle of a desert. He finds a glass filled with glowing liquid and takes a sip. Suddenly, he sees Charlotte and Thomas rapidly aging before his eyes, and Luke drops the glass in shock. As it shatters on the ground, he wakes up to find himself on a plane with his team. They're flying to Austria to find the last remaining Wicked Bible, and Thomas has now joined them on their mission. When they arrive at the Austrian National Library, Luke, Charlotte, and Deb gain special access to a secret room containing the Bible, all thanks to a huge donation from Owen. While they're busy inside, Owen is at a nearby restaurant with Thomas, happily answering the boys' curious questions about what it's like to be rich. In the secret room, the librarian shows them another interesting mistake in the Bible. Outside, Murphy is keeping watch when he spots Esme arriving with her team of armed men. He quickly warns the others. Luke tells the librarian he needs to use the bathroom. He carefully steps out of the secret room in the library. He doesn't notice Esme standing right behind him. In a funny moment, Luke talks to himself using some bad words about Esme, not realizing she can hear every word. Esme tells Luke it wasn't hard to find him. Luke feels very embarrassed about being caught. Esme then starts unzipping her jacket, getting ready for a fight. But in another funny moment, Luke, who has started to like Esme, thinks she's getting romantic. He quickly takes off his scarf, ready for romance. But then he sees Esme pull out a gun and a knife, and realizes she actually wants to fight him. Luke and Esme start fighting. They use everything around them as weapons. Bookshelves to block attacks. When one of Esme's men tries to help her, Luke knocks him out easily. Esme then pulls a gun on Luke, but he's too quick. He disarms her. Not giving up, she grabs a rope and tries to choke him. But since she's standing on part of the rope too, Luke pushes her hard, sending her flying up to dangle from a chandelier. Luke hurries back to the secret room where Murphy tells him the bad news. Esme's men have blocked all the exits. Time for Plan B. The team uses their sleeping spray on the librarian, takes the Bible, and Deb sets off a small explosive that blows a hole in the floor. They escape through this hole into the library's sewer system. At the exact same time, some of Esme's men try to kidnap Owen and Thomas at the restaurant, but Owen turns out to be surprisingly strong. He defeats all the attackers in minutes without letting Thomas get hurt. That evening, back at their hotel, the team carefully examines the Bible. They notice a repeating pattern of numbers from 1 to 7 in the gold decorations, but can't figure out what it means. Charlotte decides she's had enough. After hearing about what happened to Thomas, she wants to leave to keep him safe. As Charlotte and Thomas are about to walk out the door, Thomas has a sudden realization. He tells his mom the team is looking at the numbers the wrong way. They're not just numbers, they represent musical notes. Excited, they rush back inside. Thomas plays the notes as a song. A quick internet search identifies it as Water in the Desert, an ancient song so old that no one knows who composed it. The song is about the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The team gets out a map and marks all 7 wonders. When they compare this with the path from their paintings, everything matches perfectly except for one location, the pyramids of Giza. This must mean the fountain is hidden there. They start packing for Egypt, and Owen convinces Charlotte to come along by promising to hire professional security to protect them all. Inspector Jamal arrives at the library to investigate, and starts following Luke's trail. That night, Luke has another dream about the golden mask. This time, a shadowy figure reaches toward him. When the figure touches the sand, a dark, oily substance starts spreading everywhere, including onto Luke himself. He wakes up suddenly, disturbed by the dream. Charlotte asks him how much he really knows about Owen. Luke insists Owen is trustworthy, but Charlotte isn't so sure. She suspects Owen might just want to find the fountain so he can sell its powers to the highest bidder. Meanwhile, in a secret meeting at the Vatican, the leader of the Protectors hands Esme a special ancient key. This key has one important purpose: to prevent anyone from drinking from the fountain if they reach it. After traveling to Egypt, the team arrives at the pyramids. Luke shows Thomas some special scans of the pyramids that show secret rooms no one has ever entered before. At the pyramid site, Charlotte notices Owen's security team carrying many bags and wonders what's inside them. A well-known professor gives them a tour of the pyramid, but admits he doesn't know how to access the hidden chambers. Owen becomes frustrated and tells his men to start digging, revealing that their bags contain tools for this purpose. The professor argues against damaging such an important historical place, but Owen's men force him to leave. Charlotte also objects, and Owen suddenly becomes much colder and more businesslike in the way he speaks to her. Outside, Inspector Jamal arrives and asks to enter, but the guards refuse. Jamal returns shortly with police backup, so Owen's security team starts shooting and even blows up some police cars. The surviving officers take cover and shoot back. Nearby, Esme watches everything but doesn't act yet. Inside the pyramid, the team discovers a hidden passageway. They follow it until they reach a special chamber with a large structure that needs to be moved. No one is strong enough to push it. Owen orders his men to get their tools, and Charlotte is shocked to see they've been carrying guns all along. Even with tools, they can't move the structure. Owen wants to use explosives, but both Luke and Charlotte strongly disagree. While the adults argue, Thomas finds an ancient musical instrument and begins playing it. The sound travels through pipes in the chamber walls, affecting the structure. At just the right moment, Charlotte hits a gong, making the whole chamber shake. Sand on the structure starts forming shapes, and suddenly Charlotte can move the heavy structure with just one hand. This reveals an ancient elevator. The team gets on it and begins descending. Outside, Murphy and Deb realize Owen's security team has gone too far. They attack from behind and take down several guards. Unfortunately, Deb gets shot in the arm, and Murphy has to help her escape. Just as a guard is about to kill them, Esme appears and fights off the attackers. The elevator stops underground, leaving the team in a hallway, with strange writing on the walls that doesn't make sense. They walk until they hit a dead end with a carving of the Tree of Life. Charlotte takes an amber stone from a statue of the goddess None and places it on the tree. The wall opens, revealing another room, but they're standing very high up with no way down. After defeating the security team, Esme and Jamal decide to work together. They enter the pyramid and shoot all the remaining guards near the open structure. Finding rope in the guards' bags, Esme and Jamal use it to climb down the elevator shaft after the others. Luke touches a jewel on another carving, and suddenly, stairs come out from the walls. They carefully climb down until they reach the bottom, where a small hole opens up, showing even more stairs leading to another hidden chamber. In this chamber, there's a tiny puddle of water in the center, the legendary Fountain of Youth. Charlotte remembers the warnings on the walls. If someone isn't worthy of the fountain's blessing, they'll get a curse instead. Owen demands that Luke drink first, and when Luke hesitates, Owen gets angry and aggressive. Charlotte realizes Owen isn't actually sick, he just wants the fountain's power to sell it. Owen coldly admits this and then shoots Luke in the arm, forcing him to drink. When Luke touches the puddle, water suddenly rises, filling the chamber and forming a real fountain. Blood drips from Luke's wound, and the water swirls around him, lifting him into the air. His hands start glowing, and he sees a younger version of himself in them. But just as he's about to drink, he also sees visions of Charlotte and Thomas aging rapidly. To protect them, he chooses not to drink and pulls his hands apart. The fountain rewards his selflessness by healing his gunshot wound. Owen, furious, tries to shoot Luke again, but the water protects him, gently lowering him back to the ground. Owen then cuts his own hand and lets his blood drip into the fountain. The water surrounds him too, but Esme remembers what the protector leader told her. She quickly uses the special key on the wall. The fountain works differently for different people. If someone who cares about others drinks, they get eternal youth, but their loved ones age instead. But if someone who only loves themselves drinks, the fountain drains their own life. Owen drinks, and immediately starts aging rapidly, screaming in pain. The water swirls violently around him as Esme hits a gong, causing all the doors in the chamber to start closing. The hole in the ground begins sealing shut, so the team runs up the stairs, leaving Owen behind to drown in the rising water. As they escape, Owen's bodyguard slips and falls to his death. Luke also loses his footing, but Esme grabs his hand and helps him up. The corridors are collapsing around them, so they have to dodge falling rocks and closing walls to make it out alive. Once outside, Jamal admits that Owen was the real criminal all along. Esme tells Luke she's impressed by his strength. Luke says thank you for not taking his life. Just as she's about to go, Esme moves close to Luke. She says if he gives her a reason to follow him again, she will end him. These words make Luke think carefully about what she means, but he also feels pleased by her attention. The siblings, excited for their next adventure, ask Thomas if he has any ideas. And that's the story of Fountain of Youth. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more movie stories, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.